Hey guys, it's Simon. This is Pro Wrestling Unlimited as we are here on the 15th of June. I almost said July for some reason. 15th of June 2020 to talk about everything that went down tonight on Monday Night Raw. And here's the thing. I thought Raw was a pretty good show. I thought it could have been better. There were still some things that were like, why the hell are they doing that? But in the long run, I think it was a better show than normal, if I have to go with that route of things. But I enjoyed Raw for the most part, and we'll see where everything does go from here, leading into the Extreme Rules pay-per-view on July 19th. That is a little over a month away, so we still have plenty of time to go. But before we get into Raw, before any of that, we do have a news story that we have to talk about really quick that we have up on pwunlimited.co. I also put the link in the description below. Not in the description below, but in the live chat. I will put it in the description as well. And let me pull it up here as well. First reported by Pro Wrestling Sheet, one WWE developmental talent has tested positive for COVID-19, and WWE has confirmed the news, well, with a statement. So this is not the first time that somebody in WWE has tested positive for coronavirus or COVID-19. An on-screen WWE talent reportedly tested positive back in April, but it was said that they didn't come in contact with anybody at any of the tapings, so everyone was fine and they didn't take any extra precautions. Well, this evening, first reported by Pro Wrestling Sheet, they reported, Ryan Satin that is, that a WWE developmental talent who was being used as a member of the crowd has tested positive. Everyone who was at the tapings on the same day as this person will now be tested for the virus. WWE's Associate Medical Director, Dr. Jeffrey Dugas, released the following statement on the matter, and I quote, "A developmental talent who was last on site at WWE's training facility on Tuesday, June 9th, has tested positive for COVID-19. Since that time, no other individuals that attended the facility have reported symptoms. However, out of an abundance of caution to ensure the health and safety of the company's performers and staff, all will be tested for COVID-19 immediately. Following the test results, WWE plans to proceed with its normal television production schedule." Now again, Pro Wrestling Sheet tested this right as Raw was, or not tested, but posted this right as Raw was going off the air. So we really don't know when immediately is. Is immediately tonight? Is immediately tomorrow morning? Or was immediately earlier today? That is something we don't know. And hopefully nobody else does test positive for the virus and everything can go on as according to plan going forward. We do know that today they were supposed to be taping one episode of Raw, one episode of SmackDown, and then tomorrow, next week's episode of Raw and next week's episode of SmackDown. So again, if we do hear anything further on this developmental talent who was at the facility, the PC, on June 9th, and if we hear anything else on this, we will keep you updated right here on the PW Unlimited YouTube channel or on pwunlimited.co. Now let's talk about Raw, and before we do that, let's see who's here with us in the live chat. We've got Carmen Ingram, Jacko Rowell, George J. Cox, Sinclair Saturday, NMD Wrestling, Derek Bocek, Eric Tate, Eskimo, Jack Dawson, Jas Gill, Matthew Tant, and so many more of you here to talk about tonight's Monday Night Raw. And Raw was an interesting one. A very interesting one right off the get-go. So as the show opens up on commentary, they let us know that Drew McIntyre and R-Truth will be taking on Bobby Lashley and MVP later on tonight. Asuka will be defending her WWE Raw Women's Championship also tonight against Nia Jax in a Backlash rematch. And there will be an appearance from Dominic Mysterio sometime tonight on the show. Give me 1 second, guys, just to write something down. There we go. All right. So Randy Orton makes his way out to the ring, and Tom Phillips said many considered last night the greatest wrestling match ever. Phillips confirmed that Edge has suffered a torn bicep and had undergone surgery this morning. They showed a graphic photo of mid-surgery without any warning of, hey, we're going to show you a graphic photo. So Orton said he humiliated and embarrassed Edge. He wrote the final chapter in his story. Somebody was clapping for this. Oh, I forgot to mention the big news. We are fans, and not just PC recruits. They actually had actual fans, not in the stands because they don't have any stands, but in attendance at the Performance Center. They actually had randos, civilians, in attendance. Now, we don't know who these people are, how they got chosen, and why they were the ones brought in, and why today was the day to do that. But, hey, WWE, they try to just be a little progressive and bring fans back a little bit at a time, I guess. So that was cool that we did see that. And it was like 50-50 split, it seemed like, from as many crowd shots as we did get, as far as if you can tell who the wrestlers were, A, because a lot of them you can recognize from previous weeks, and B, no offense to anybody, but they didn't look like pro wrestlers or pro wrestlers in training. Just saying, like, when the show first opened up, there was some guy that looked like he was at least, like, I don't know, 50, 60 years old. Maybe not 60, maybe not 50, but he was all full grays and looked like a grandpa, but not trying to offend anybody. So back to Orton. He said that he knew Edge wouldn't be able to return to his past form, and Orton needed to save him. And that is why he did what he did. Orton said that he won the greatest wrestling match ever, which made him the greatest wrestler ever, and he didn't need a WWE Championship to prove that. I'm going to say right now, that's foreshadowing. If what I'm hearing is true and no plans get changed, Orton saying, I don't need a WWE Championship, is foreshadowing. Orton thanked Edge for reigniting the fire inside of him because he was reminded of what it was like to be the legend killer. He wished Edge was here to tell him, but, well, Edge isn't. Not only because he punted Edge in the head, but because Edge tore his bicep right off the bone. Orton said he knew exactly when Edge got injured in the match, but kept going because Edge needed to go home with his wife and kids. Edge had another mountain to climb, and Orton hoped that he did. Orton said, Edge, you're not going to get cleared. No. He said, Edge, you will likely get cleared in July. And my first thought was, no, he had surgery. He ain't getting cleared in a month. And then he goes, July of 2029. People booed this. It's going to be another 9 years before you can come back. Christian then interrupts. Christian came down to the ring and asked what kind of a man Orton was. He called Orton cold, calculated, and a son of a bitch. Orton just smiled. Christian said Edge's career wasn't over. He didn't quit before he was going to quit now. Christian said Edge would get closure on his own terms, not Orton's. Orton said that this wasn't about Christian because it's never been about Christian. He called Christian jealous of Edge for being able to come back when Christian couldn't. Orton says, I see it all over your face. He knew that Christian wanted one more match. Christian said no, and Orton wasn't buying it. He says that Christian's just like Edge in that his career was taken from him, but he wanted more. Orton said Christian wasn't cleared to compete, and he knows that. So what he's going to do is he's going to challenge Christian to an unsanctioned match. Christian appeared a little worried here. Orton then said, you don't have to give me an answer now, but the offer only stands till the end of the show. Let me know your answer. Crowd kind of cheered for this. And then the announcers talked about Christian's medical history, but didn't say a word about why he was actually disqualified from competing. Because he suffered too many concussions in a row. I mean, Christian's last match was in March of 2014. He won a fatal four-way to become the number one contender for the Intercontinental Championship and never got that Intercontinental title match because in winning, he also suffered a concussion and never wrestled again. Well, until tonight, if you count what they did wrestling. But, as I'm going to say right now, it's what Christian did tonight was more than they would have allowed him to do just a few months ago. Just saying. And I don't know if he's allowed to do more or not. That's something that we're waiting to find out. Charlie Caruso was with Zelina Vega and Angel Garza backstage. She asked Zelina Vega and Garza if Garza's actions may have cost Andrade the title last night, the U.S. title, that is. Garza said Andrade was heartbroken and felt sorry for him. So he didn't seem, to me, Garza didn't seem that sincere, though. Garza also felt sorry for Kevin Owens. He asked Charlie if she wanted to do an interview with him right after his match later tonight because he feels like he is going to once again defeat Kevin Owens. Vega wasn't amused with the cocky confidence of Angel Garza and the slight flirty vibes he was throwing off there. Andrade would then appear and shook Garza's hand. Andrade wished him luck tonight against Kevin Owens, but said if he lost, he hoped Garza would get over it. Cool. Okay, that match is next. I want to thank Eskimo for the $1 Super Chat donation. I really do appreciate that. Also, guys, if you want to give me your thoughts on tonight's Monday Night Raw, you can do so by texting in to 510-906-1341. Again, that number is 510-906-1341. Also, you can also put your questions in the comments in the live chat, that is, as a Super Chat donation. All Super Chat donations do get read on the air, and we really do appreciate all the help that you guys do give us in keeping Pro Wrestling Unlimited alive in these hard times when, well, people ain't making as much as they used to on YouTube. Just saying. So, Kevin Owens comes down, and as he's walking down to the ring, he's watching his back, because remember last time, he's watching his back, and remember last time, he was attacked from behind during his entrance by Garza. So he wasn't going to let that happen this time. He gets down to the ring. Garza comes out with Zelina Vega. And then about, I don't know, not even 20 seconds into the match, Andrade's music would hit, and he came down to the ring. Owens was chopping Garza in the corner, but stopped abruptly when he heard the music of Andrade. Garza was even more distracted by this, and Owens attacked him. Garza was knocked out of the ring and got into a mild argument with Andrade, but Andrade tried to make it seem like he was only there to encourage Angel Garza. So Garza was somehow in control after a commercial break. He was working over Owens' leg. Near the finish of the match, Andrade distracted the referee. Garza waited for Owens to turn around and attack him. He kicked him once in the gut before trying to get the referee's attention away from Andrade. This allowed Owens to catch Garza with a stunner, pin him, and pick up the victory. So Vega marched out because when Andrade came down, this is weird. Andrade comes down. Give me one quick second, guys. Just one more second, guys. Sorry, my daughter was trying to call me. Okay, we're good. Shot her a text message. All right. So it was weird. When Andrade came down, Zelina looked perturbed. Kind of like, what the hell are you doing out here kind of deal. And apparently she was so mad that Andrade came out that during the commercial, she left ringside. They told us that when they came back. So after the match, she marches her ass back down. She gets in the ring, starts yelling at both Andrade and Garza, who were yelling at each other. The referee is then yelling at Lana, get your guys out of my ring, get your guys out, we got to keep the show going, blah, blah, blah. And she's just yelling, get over here, come on, let's leave. Dissension in the ranks. Lana, get your men in line. It was the MVP and Lashley backstage. When Sarah Schreiber approached, she wants an interview, and MVP gets mad at her and says, hey, we're having a private conversation. You ain't just going to come up on us. You might need to go back to journalism school and learn when is the proper time to get an interview. MVP, she didn't go to journalism school in the first place. So Lashley said they were trying to discuss a strategy for their tag team match later on tonight. Schreiber pressed them for a comment about Lana and her involvement in the Backlash match. MVP told her that Lashley was cheated out of his opportunity last night due to circumstances outside of his control. MVP said that they would address that right now, and then they went down to the ring. The MVP and Lashley came out. MVP said Lashley's night was ruined by Lana. Drew McIntyre had the audacity to take advantage of that. He's called it exclusively Lana's fault that Lashley isn't the champion right now. And if McIntyre had any integrity, he would have given him a rematch on the spot. And my first thought was, rematch on the spot? Bro, his woman fucked everything up. That ain't Drew's fault. It's called seizing the opportunity to retain your goddamn title. So, Lana eventually comes out. She said that it wasn't Lashley's stupid idea, or it was Lashley's stupid idea to banish her from ringside. She would never do anything to hurt her Bobby. She put her career before him. She dyed her hair brown for him. She got a divorce for him. Lashley then Lashley then said that no, it is her fault. And MVP called her a thought. And then started trending on Twitter, Lana, a thought. Literally, Lana, a thought was trending on Twitter. She said, that's not how you talk to me. Think before you talk to me like that again. MVP and Lashley was nowhere near the title before showing up, she said. She said, Lashley was nowhere near the title. No. Let me rephrase that. I read that wrong. MVP said Lashley was nowhere near getting a shot at the title before he helped Lashley out. Lana tried to reason with Lashley and called them a good team. Lashley asked when the last time that she laced up a pair of boots. He said that she was more concerned with getting likes on Instagram. She only used him to get famous and even publicize their sex life. She then said, if I just want to get famous for my sex life, I'll sleep with somebody more famous than you, like Drew. And as she was saying, like Drew, Lashley would then say, I want a divorce. Lana kind of just froze. MVP and Lashley walked off. And MVP had this ever-growing smirk on his face like, I got what I wanted. You're gone. He's all mine. So in the back, Sarah Schreiber interviewed the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders, who were all friendly, which is weird. They've been doing all these friendly competitions. Then last night, they're brawling in the parking lot. They're fighting with ninjas. They're throwing each other in dumpsters, going through glass windows. And then tonight, man, we worked well together last night against them ninjas. That was great, blah, 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 blah. What's the fucking dynamic here? Why were they even fighting each other in the first place then last night? If they're all buddy, buddy, pal, pal. This shit is getting old quick. They were interrupted by Akira Tozawa and his ninjas, because that ain't racist. Tozawa wanted a sequel, because they said, we're like the Avengers. And we're going to have a Viking, a Viking Prophet cinematic universe. And Tozawa said, sequel. They said, you don't deserve no sequel. Then the big tall guy came. He showed up with Tozawa. Montez Ford told his friends that he had an idea on how to handle this. So stupid. And we end up getting an 8-man tag team match. It was the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders against Akira Tozawa and 3 ninjas. And not the good 3 ninjas. Not Rocky, Colt, and Tum Tum. Not the good 3 ninjas. Random ass 3 ninjas. Those Street Profits went around the plexiglass and danced with the fans and high-fived them and everything. Because that ain't social distancing. I wonder if they knew beforehand that someone had COVID. Or had tested positive for it. Yeah, that person wasn't there. But if you know that, you're going to take all the other precautions you can now. Anyways. Try to do their regular Street Profits through the crowd entrance. Cool. Street Profits and, well, the Viking Profits, I mean. Won very quickly. Match went about a minute and 15 seconds. The big men, Angelo Dawkins and Eric, hit some spine busters and whatnot. Ford and Ivar came off the top rope with splashes, and Ford picked up the victory. Tozawa and his tall friend entered into the ring. Tozawa basically did Nakamura's, come on, tempting them to come fight the big guy. Viking Raiders, or Viking Profits, still have to get used to saying that. They huddled up, and Ford raised his glass, and they all said, "We want the smoke." And then Big Show's music would hit for some god-awful reason. Random as hell. So Big Show makes his way down to the ring, knocked out all the ninjas, as Tozawa and his friend backed away and left. And that was it. What the hell was this? It was utter garbage, that's what it is. It was garbage. So we see Seth Rollins and Charlie Caruso approaches him. She asks if he heard that Dominic Mysterio, that is coming to Raw tonight. Rollins said, "I'm glad that he's coming, but no one's actually seen him." He said, "We're looking for him." And Rollins felt that he said, "I feel Dominic's presence, and I have a message for him and Ray tonight." Yes, Kevin Correa, the WWE Performance Center stalker, was outside tonight trying to get into the building. He said he wanted to talk to Triple H about having an opportunity in the company. And the security guard, hold on one second. Here, listen to this fucking shit. Okay, so if you haven't heard, there's this dude that they call the Performance Center stalker. That he just randomly shows up at the WWE Performance Center trying to get in, trying to get a meeting with Triple H. He's done this multiple times. Apparently in the past, he got shot in front of the Performance Center. I don't know exactly the whole story. But tonight he was live streaming like he always does. And I caught it towards the latter half of the live stream. And he's like, "I just want an opportunity. I need to speak with Triple H. I want to get in there, and I want to talk to him about giving me a shot." And the security guard, hold on. I've got it written down here because I sent it to a friend. Come on, load, please. Basically, he's asking the security guard to either give his resume or some specific paperwork to Triple H or let him get in to speak with Triple H. And he's like, "No, have you tried AEW? Have you tried taking your talents to AEW?" And the fucking guy literally looks at him and goes, "Yes, I have. I've been all in. But I want to talk with Triple H." I'm like, wow, this security guy really just told him, "We don't want you. Maybe go to AEW." He's like, and then the guy keeps talking, and he's like, the security guy again goes, "Well, you can only go to AEW or the Independents." And he goes, "I've been on the Independents. I was trained by the brother Devon. Do you know Brother Devon? He taught me to testify at his school." He's like, "Brother Devon taught me a lot." And I was like, what is this guy doing? Finally, the guy leaves, throws up in his beard, and then, he also says, "Tell Triple H I'm like a glass of tea. I'm too sweet." Like, what the hell kind of shit is this? But that guy was out in front of the PC tonight at about 5:30 7:30-ish my time, so 8:30 local time in Florida. Very weird. So going back to Monday Night Raw, we see Christian there on the phone talking to somebody, saying that he knows the risk and is not sure if it's worth it. But he thinks he knows what he's got to do. Give me 1 second. Yeah, never mind. I thought someone knocked on my door. So Seth Rollins comes out. He said Rey Mysterio declined his invitation, but Dominic has accepted on the family's behalf. Rey showed up on screen. He said he didn't know that Dominic was heading to Raw, and by the time he found out, it was too late. He couldn't stop him. Rey knew what Rollins was capable of and began warning him. Rollins said that he wouldn't hurt Dominic, he just wants to speak to him and help him. Rollins said Dominic was part of the future and wanted Rey to encourage him to join his stable. Rey called him crazy and said Dominic would never join you. Rollins didn't want to make things difficult and said Murphy and Theory, they're out looking for him right now as we speak. He said if Dominic was a problem, then he must be sacrificed. Rey said if Rollins or his goons touch his son, he would end them. Rollins recalled hearing Dominic saying the words, eye for an eye. He said Dominic was an adult who could make his own choices. He could choose to be on the right side of history or be a sacrifice. Rollins got to his knees and said that he was thanking Rey for his sacrifice. As he was down on his knees, Dominic would jump in the ring from behind Seth Rollins and attack him. He threw Rollins out of the ring and threw Rollins into the steel steps. And Dominic actually, for the little that he did, looked good. Like, he didn't look nervous. He didn't look like he was out there just running around like a chicken with his head cut off or anything. He looked like he knew what he was doing and wasn't just, oh, I'm this random wrestler's kid that they want to throw into a segment. No, it's, I want to do this. I know what I'm doing. I'm learning. And this is cool. I thought Dominic looked really fluid in all of his motions, running around, sliding in and out of the ring, jumping over the barricade, and that's what he did. He slid into the ring to get away from Theory and Murphy. Murphy then jumped into the ring, charged at Dominic. Dominic threw him out of the ring. Dominic then jumped out of the ring when Theory jumped in the ring. Dominic then ran around the ring, jumped over the barricade, and ran out of the building as, well, the heels watched on. Backstage, R-Truth kind of offered his, well, he's like, I want to, Lashley, offer my they're like, condolences? He goes, no, not that. It was dumb. It's R-Truth not knowing words again. Lashley noted that McIntyre wasn't here right now. And if you want to mess with us, we can mess with you. And then Truth just left. We also learned, that on Friday Night SmackDown that is, Bray Wyatt will appear with a new episode of the Firefly Funhouse, and Mandy Rose will talk about her relationship with Sonya Deville on Miz TV. Lashley and Truth were then seen walking around the PC when they came up Lashley and MVP were seen walking around the PC when they came up on Truth. They heard Truth yelling and struggling underneath a ring. Truth popped out from under and said that they have ninja problems. He got to his feet, and before MVP and Lashley could do anything to him, McIntyre would appear. They all argued for a bit. Then MVP challenged them to a winner-take-all match. 24/7 title, WWE title, on the line. The winning team gets both belts. McIntyre wasn't going for it. And then all of a sudden, Truth just goes, yep, we accept. And McIntyre was pissed. You could see right there he wanted to just slap the fucking head off of Truth. McIntyre was annoyed. And then goes, I guess we already told him we were going to do it, so we got to do it. Truth didn't appear to understand what he had just done. Next up, we got tag team action. Liv Morgan and Natalya against the Iconics in a 2.5-minute match. Morgan was going to start for her team, but Natalya immediately tagged herself in and assured her that she's got this. The Iconics attacked her right away and took over. Natalya managed to tag in Liv Morgan, who gave Billie Kay a driving drop kick, but Peyton Royce broke up a cover. Natalya tried to throw Royce from the ring, but Royce chucked her out instead. The ref was distracted by Peyton. Morgan put Kay in a schoolgirl. When the ref finally noticed, Kay kicked out. Royce blind tagged in. Morgan didn't notice it. They gave their magic killer finish. Pinned her, bada boom. Iconics pick up the victory. After the match, the Iconics state, This is what we do with one tag team, not two tag teams against us. They then would go on to challenge Bayley and Sasha Banks to a tag team title match, either tonight or next week on Raw. Tag champs didn't respond. They said, we know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows another somebody that can make this match happen. So, we see Christian again backstage, and he's approached by the Big Show. Show warned him that Orton didn't pick an unsanctioned match just because it's the only way he can compete. It was so Orton could do anything he wanted against Christian. Christian figures Show was telling him to not do it. Show said, Jay, Orton is more dangerous than ever right now. He said, but if it was me, and this was funny. It's supposed to be very serious, but it was funny because he goes, but if it was me, I'd give him one of these. And so Show puts his fist up, and it's right next to Christian's head. Fucking, I don't know if it's really that big or if it was the camera angle. But Big Show's fist was as big, if not bigger, than Christian's head. Christian then said, you know what? I know what I got to do. Backstage, we see Natalya and Liv Morgan. Natty basically placed all the blame on Liv Morgan and said that she made rookie mistakes out there in the ring. She could see now why Ruby Riott left her. Morgan got upset and left. Natalya continued to rant to herself, to nobody. Like, who was she talking to? She says she's been disrespected. Nobody respects her. She if it wasn't for her, there would be no women's division, at least not the way that it is right now. And then Lana would appear and say, I feel your pain. I thought I'd be married to the WWE champion right now. Instead, I'm getting divorced. Natalya says she knew how that felt. No, you don't. TJ never wanted to divorce you as far as we know. You don't know what it's like to get canned. Well, he's not from a marriage. So, the two stand, I guess you could say, in solidarity. Looking like we're getting a Natalya-Lana tag team. Whoopee! Christian then came out on the stage and was approached by Charlie Caruso. She said, Christian, we want to know, if you've made a decision about Randy Orton's challenge. Christian says, yes, I've accepted Randy's challenge. And the crowd cheered for that. So backstage, MVP approached Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews was getting ready for his match coming up later tonight with the U.S. title on the line. He was defending against Shelton Benjamin. MVP noted that you might need me in your corner to keep this belt. He said, I'm the longest reigning WWE United States champion, and I know how good Shelton Benjamin is as a former U.S. champion. Crews basically said, I got this. Appreciate the offer, but I don't need the help. It's all good. We then see Charlotte Flair backstage with her father, Ric Flair. He wanted to know, what's next? She goes, what do you mean what's next? Like, what title am I going to challenge for next? You know that I've won everything. He goes, no, I know all of that. He's like, who gets under your skin? She said, well, a lot of people get under my skin. And then Rick said something along the lines of, okay, we'll find out more about this later. Or they insinuated that this wasn't it for Charlotte tonight, but it was. So I don't understand what that's all about. They didn't tease anything. They didn't give us any hints of anything. They just had to get a 30-second Charlotte segment because she's got to be on the show. So next up, we got a 2-minute and 6-second U.S. title match. Apollo Crews defending against Shelton Benjamin. There was a funny inset promo. Well, again, something that was supposed to be serious that came off funny. So as we saw about, 10 minutes earlier, maybe 15 counting the break, MVP had stated that he wants to help out Cruz. But then they tell us this promo by Shelton Benjamin was recorded earlier in the day by Shelton. And Shelton literally says, Apollo, you should listen to MVP and take his advice and let him help you out. And my first thought was, wow, Shelton Benjamin's a mind reader, a fortune teller. He knows the future. So Benjamin tried to schoolboy early with his feet on the ropes, and the referee saw it. As Benjamin argued with the ref, Cruz hit a schoolboy of his own but grabbed the ropes for leverage. Ref didn't see it, counted the pin 1, 2, 3. Cruz cheated to retain the championship. He then got out of the ring, grabbed his belt, and yelled back at Shelton, "You got!" And Samoa Joe was way too happy that freaking Apollo cheated to retain the title. Like, Joe was almost ecstatic by this. It was pretty entertaining how enthused, I guess you could say, Joe was that Apollo grabbed the ropes to retain the belt. We then got a long video recap of the quote-unquote storyline between Asuka and Nia Jax. Chuck Russo interviewed Asuka. She asked her if Jax was too menacing and dominant of a challenger. Asuka said Jax started the fight and she is going to end it. Truth then approached McIntyre. Truth said, I spoke to people with power, and I got some stuff changed. Only one title's going to be on the line. It's the WWE Championship. And McIntyre was even more mad and said, wait. So if you get pinned, I lose my title? And Truth's like, hey, it's all good because I can't lose my 24/7, 48/7, 7-Eleven, I-95 South European Television Championship. He goes, but trust me, I've got this. Bro. So then we see the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders, the Viking Prophets, backstage discussing what competition they need to do next since everything's still tied. Big Show appeared, and they said, oh, thanks for the help earlier. And he said, all right, we need to talk. This competition stuff, it needs to end. We need to figure out an end to all this. And Ivar goes, carpool karaoke. And Big Show goes, never suggest that crap again. Never say carpool karaoke again. He goes, no. Next week, just have a title match. Just do what you were supposed to do last night at fucking Backlash. So hopefully, because they've already announced that we're getting a title match, Raw Tag Team title match, hopefully we don't get more fucking ninja bullshit instead of a title match next week. We do know that there will be 2 title matches taking place next week. Street Profits defending against the Viking Raiders with the Raw Tag Team titles on the line. Plus, as long as they can retain their titles this Wednesday on NXT, Bayley and Sasha will be defending against the Iconics next week on Raw. Thank you, Deacon Owens, for the $1 Super Chat donation. Really do appreciate that. So going forward, we did have the WWE Champion Drew McIntyre and the 24/7 Champion R-Truth taking on the team of Bobby Lashley and MVP. And here's the thing. This was about, 10 minutes into the final hour. And there had only been less than 13 minutes of wrestling on this show. Yeah. Crazy. So, McIntyre was in control early and set MVP up for a Claymore kick. However, Truth tagged himself in and was immediately suplexed by MVP. Lashley chucked him in the barricade, and they remained in control throughout a commercial break. MVP booted Truth for a 2 as McIntyre watched nervously. Truth ducked a boot by doing the splits and then nailed a kick. McIntyre tagged in and hit Lashley with a clothesline and an overhead suplex, but Lashley managed to tag out. McIntyre went after MVP and gave him a future shock DDT, but Lashley broke up the cover. Truth tried to help, but Lashley tossed him from the ring. Lashley tried a spear, but Truth dropped him into the steel steps. McIntyre gave MVP a Claymore kick and then was about to go for the cover and then said, wait, no. Got up, tagged Truth and said, show me that you got this. Truth had hit an assisted splash and pinned MVP. McIntyre retains his belt. So we go back to the back. We see Christian again, and this time he's approached, by Ric Flair. First said that he needed to warn him about Orton. Flair said his family wouldn't care if he backed down, and the locker room would forget about it. Christian appreciated the advice, but said, I'm not going to regret what's going to happen. I got to do what I've got to do. So Flair kind of gave him a look like, you're really going on with this. Like I didn't think of it at the time, but now thinking back at it, Flair gave him that look like you're going to regret what's about to happen. And I didn't think about it at the time until we saw what happened. Ashton Tyler with a super chat donation. I do appreciate that. He says, Tim, you're the GOAT and your rants are great in my opinion. I do truly appreciate the donation and the super chat comment. Thank you, Ashton Tyler. So next up, Bayley and Sasha Banks come out. They said on commentary that today is Bayley's birthday, and Bayley put over their successful defense last night at Backlash. She also would announce that it's her birthday. She said that it would be her birthday week because we're going to get a lot of her tonight on Raw, NXT, and then back home on SmackDown Friday night. Banks then said that the Iconics, they had no right to call them out. They don't make the shots. The champs make the shots. The Iconics would then interrupt. They said they're tired of hearing Banks and Bayley just run down their resume. They want an answer. You accept her challenge or not? Bayley reminded them that they lost last night at the pay-per-view. Kay reminded them, we beat you at last year's WrestleMania for the titles. The Iconics mocked them and said that they couldn't handle the pressure and that after they lost the titles at WrestleMania, they cried and threw fits. Banks would then get in Peyton's face and Peyton would slap her. Bayley would then freak out, just go ballistic and accept the challenge. Sasha didn't look all too happy with Bayley accepting the challenge. Iconics left, and then on commentary they said, well, the challenge has been accepted. We'll see if they announce this later tonight, which they did. They also announced that next week, Rey Mysterio will be on Raw. So next up, we got a Raw Women's title match. Match went about 9 minutes, or just shy of 9 minutes, I believe. Asuka defending against Nia Jax. Jax cut an inset promo where she called Asuka a joke who got lucky last night. So it seemed like there was some miscommunication by these women early on. They fought in the ropes on the apron, and it was like Asuka went for her little running hip attack but missed, and then Nia was supposed to tie her up in the ropes or whatever, but Nia couldn't. So then Nia tried to put her on her shoulders on the apron. Nia barely got her up there without falling off the fucking side of the apron, and then Asuka slid back behind her, put her in a choke, and the referee counted the rope break. Asuka broke. Nia then took a little while, actually, more than you would think, to get back into the ring. Excuse me. Asuka then hit her with a right hand as she entered back into the ring, then raised her arm and frustration. Moments later, Jax was out of the ring, pulled Asuka out of the ring, and powerbombed her on the floor very hard. And as they went to break, you can see the referee asking Asuka if she's okay, and Asuka, you could see her go, yes. You can see her visibly say, yes, I'm okay. Because fucking Nia just splatted her right on the floor. So after the break, Asuka got her knees up on Jax, who hit a Shining Wizard for 2. Jax was standing on the buckle. Asuka kicked her leg out from under her. And then they basically did the Alberto Del Rio spot where your opponent holds themselves hanging from the turnbuckle or the ropes or wherever. And then you do the double foot stomp. Asuka then used some yes kicks, and Jax blocked one of them. She then hit a headbutt, and Samoa Joe, and a Samoan drop. Samoa Joe said that's the way to do it when she hit that headbutt. Asuka, though, got her foot under the bottom rope so the ref wouldn't count, because either on or under the ropes technically is a rope break. Jax then got to her feet. Referee John Cone got to his feet, and Nia freaked out, saying, you need to do your job. You need to count the pin. Why aren't you counting for me? And he's like, because her foot was under the ropes. So she shoves John Cone. John Cone was about to call for the DQ when Asuka would roll up Nia Jax. He would then slide over. 1, 2, 3. Bada boom, there you go. Asuka retains the Raw Women's Championship. Nia Jax was, I wouldn't say furious. I felt like Joe was more pissed off than Nia Jax. Nia was more shocked at what had happened. But Joe almost basically went on a rant, saying that ref counted fast, the ref screwed Nia Jax, and the ref took liberties into his own hands with the whole counting fast deal. He said, and you'll wonder why the wrestlers don't listen to the refs, because they do stuff like that. So Orton was in the back, and Charlie Caruso approached him. He asked Charlie if she thought Christian was a legend. She said, well, yeah, and Orton agreed. He explained what an unsanctioned match was. He said Christian's legend would be destroyed by the 3 most devastating letters in sports entertainment, RKO. And then next up, we get the unsanctioned match. The match, bell to bell, goes about a minute. Christian came out wearing some street clothes, his fists all taped up. Orton wore his wrestling gear, of course. About 5 minutes left in the show when this started to go down, I guess you could say. Mike Rome was about to announce or introduce both men when the music of Ric Flair would end up playing. Rick would come out and said, Christian, you don't have to do this. I spoke to Edge. He said, Christian you don't need to prove yourself to anybody. Christian told Flair, I have to do this. I have to do this. So Christian steps forward. Now Rick is behind Christian. The bell rings, ding, ding, ding. Remember, it's unsanctioned. No rules. Pah! Ric Flair hits him with that low blow. Christian goes down. Orton looks a little stunned. Then turns in from Randall Keith Orton to the Viper Randy Orton and punts Christian in the head. Orton then turns back to Randall Keith Orton, kind of wondering what he had just done. He would then roll Christian over and pin him before calling for help. Christian is laying in the ring, a lifeless body. And Randy Orton starts apologizing, saying, I didn't want to do this. The same thing he did with Edge. I didn't want to do this. This wasn't me. This was you. You made me do this. You put me in this position, Christian. A few hours ago, you interrupted me. You gave me no choice. Then he looks at the trainer and goes, you need to take care of this man. You need to make sure he's going to be okay. You've got to take good care of him. And the trainer's like, we got this. They put the neck brace on him, and Randy stands up, and he's like, you made me do this, Christian. And he gets back down. He starts talking to Christian some more. He looks at the the trainers or whatever. He looks back down to the EM or Christian. He's like, they're going to take care of you. They're going to take care of you. They've got you. And they stood up. And, yeah, that's how the show went off the air. Very interesting how it's like they've teased Randy Orton being bipolar and multiple personalities before, but not, I don't think, as much here, to where in one moment he's like, crap, what did I do? I'm sorry, Christian, I didn't mean to do that. And then in that split moment, yet you forced my hand. You made me do this. I had no choice but to kick your head off. So we'll see where this leads to. Like I stated earlier, this is more physical than Christian has been in the last 6 years. Christian hasn't done anything since March of 2014. Anything physical. He's been on that do not touch list, yet tonight they let him take a punt. Yeah, they let him take a low blow. He took a low blow from a 70-year-old man. 70-something. Whatever you want to, however old Ric Flair. How old is Ric Flair? Ric Flair is... Rick is 71. Wait, is he younger than Vince? Rick's 3 years younger than Vince. Interesting, actually. 4. Because Vince is going to be 75 in 2 months. Anyways. That was Raw. Christian gets punted. They take him out on a stretcher. And the show goes off the air. With that, I do have a couple text messages I do want to read before we do wrap everything up. Got those right here. Got actually more than a couple text messages. But this person here says, I think Randy Orton should take the title off Drew at SummerSlam because it would be cool. Vince also thinks Randy is a top star on Raw. I mean, I could see that. I mean, he didn't, and I was told, he didn't say, I don't need the WWE title. He didn't say that for no reason. This person says, since Ray's contract is up around the same time as Bryan, does that mean Ray could also be out of action as his contract expires? So here's the thing. I was wrong in saying that Daniel Bryan's contract expires this September. His contract expires next September, 2021. Now, Bryan is going to take time off when Brie gives birth. But, as I stated on Friday, I said that his contract could expire while he takes that time off. I was wrong. I looked into it over the weekend when I did do my contracts video and stuff and updated all that stuff. And his contract doesn't expire. He signed a 3-year deal in 2018 for 19-20, expire in 21. Ray's contract is up this October, but Daniel Bryan is September 2021. The person says, tonight's Raw was great, but a few things. If you were to name possible matches for Extreme Rules, what would they be? And do you see Alexa and Nikki staying as best friends as long as they can till they get the women's tag titles back? Yeah, they'll be friends still. As far as what can I see for Extreme Rules? I mean, that's tough. I don't want to say it, but based off of tonight's Raw rematches from Backlash, Nia Asuka, because Nia's going to say that the ref screwed her, and maybe Bobby and Drew again. Merton says, do you see Orton versus McIntyre at SummerSlam and Orton winning? It's possible. I don't know, because a lot of things that were planned out through SummerSlam were changed over the last 48 hours. This person says, hey, Tim, how are you doing tonight? And tonight's show was decent. And what your thoughts on Randy Orton attitude? Do you like or hate it? Thanks. I already told you what I thought about that. It's kind of weird that he did the whole, what's it called? You made me do this, blah, 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 blah. Oh, I'm sorry. Vindictive and sympathetic all in the same sentence. Person says, the show was great. The ending was good. Some of the matches could have been better, but I thought the show was great. I didn't think tonight's Raw was great, but I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it for the most part. The person says, Dominic Mysterio can go. I was really impressed. Do you think he can lead a match between not Ray, but Dominic and Seth sometime down the road? I mean, he wouldn't have to lead it. You would have Seth lead the match. And like I stated, we didn't see Dominic do much, so you can't say he can go. But his timing and everything he did tonight was spot on. So that's a positive. Person says, has Raw been different tonight in your opinion since Bruce Pritchard is running creative? No, I didn't really feel much of a difference of anything. Because you can't change everything in 1 week. You've got to do a slow change. Because you can't just go, I don't like that, and that, not happening anymore. You can't just cut everything. You got to slowly shift to your new ideas. This person says, do you think Apollo is turning heel? I didn't going into the match, but after the match, I don't know what to think, to be honest. The person says, I liked Raw tonight, but there were too many backstage segments. True. This person says, do you think Christian's return, quote unquote, was a crowd pleaser sort of thing, or do you see him doing more like Edge? That is something I don't know, and we're trying to figure out that. We don't know, not me and other reporters that I've spoke with throughout the day and other, insiders and whatnot, people with sources, don't know. This was something that all of a sudden this morning people started hearing rumblings of Christians getting physical today. But that's all we know. We don't know anything further. This person says, do you think any titles are changing next week? I could see the Raw tag titles change. Women's tag titles, probably not. And this last one here says, when do you think Dominic Dijakovic debuting, and do you think he's placed with Seth's group? Well, first off, I don't think he should be placed with Seth's group, because that would be stupid as hell for Dijakovic, and Dijakovic should be debuting any week. There was a plan in the original script for tonight for him to debut tonight, but then things got changed once the show was filmed, so maybe he gets used for next week. We'll see. But with that, I want to thank you guys for joining me here tonight to talk about Monday Night Raw. Again, tonight's Monday Night Raw was a pretty good show. If I had to rate it, I'd go 7.5. Again, thank you guys for joining me either in the live chat or watching later right here on YouTube. I believe, now, Nick wants to do a show tomorrow, so that's all I'm going to say. If he actually is available, that's the other question. But Nick did hit me up today and say, hey, let's do a show on Tuesday. So Nick and I may be live tomorrow night right here on YouTube. That's all I'm going to say. With that, thank you guys for joining me here. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Pro Wrestling ULTD. You can follow us on Instagram by searching for Pro Wrestling Unlimited. And you can follow us on Twitter at PW Unlimited. You can follow me personally on Twitter at Timmy Buddy, and also follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Timmy Buddy. Again, thanks guys, and have a good night.